The Greens are now officially a far-right party. Yes, you heard that correct. The open borders, tax the rich, left-wing radicals, the Green Party, have gone far right. And why do I say this? Well, I say it because all of that time they spent bleating about how refugees are welcome here, it seems like they've changed their mind. When they said refugees are welcome here, they didn't mean here as in here where I live, here in my constituency. No, they meant here as in somewhere else in the country. And we know this because the government said, well, okay, we're going to send 600 illegal migrants into one of your Green Party constituencies. And now, all of a sudden, the Green Party councillors have decided that this is a terrible idea. In fact, the multi-millionaire deputy leader of the Green Party wrote a letter to the government in which she said this will pose a significant risk to the local community. What does she mean by that? Sounds a bit racist to me. So what exactly is the backstory here? Well, a few days ago, we learned that the government is planning to send 600 illegal migrants into the small town of Crowborough. Specifically, they'll be staying in some old, disused army barracks. And I guess the point here is to get them out of the hotels. Fine, but here's the thing. Crowborough is a small town in the south of England with a population of 21,000 people. So you're going to put 600 unvetted men from God knows where into this quaint little town in the south of England. Clearly, some of the residents are not too happy about this, and they've taken to the streets to voice their concerns. Now, genuinely, I sympathise for the people who are out in Crowborough protesting against this. Clearly, they do not want it in their local area and they understand the dangers, but we have to be a little bit realistic here. A lot of the people in your constituency don't agree with you. Clearly they don't. You live in a 96% white area that has never experienced the downsides of diversity. And because of that, enough people in your local area thought it would be a great idea to vote for the Open Borders Green Party. So there is a lot of people in Crowborough who presumably are just quite happy with this, and they don't understand that the things they take for granted, like walking through the streets safely at night or letting your kids go to school by themselves, that can all be taken away in an instant. Clearly they don't understand just how fragile society and civilization really is, but unfortunately I suspect they're going to learn pretty quickly, because in Crowborough this is going to go ahead. The government will not back down from this, I can almost guarantee it. And Crowborough is going to learn a pretty painful lesson. And it's because of people like this.
Is that from,
how scary is that?
Is that from France they've crossed the channel?
Yes, it will have been from France.
Is there a war going on in France?
No, there's not a war going on in France.
Okay, so why are they coming here if there's no war in France?
I don't know, but they're here now. I think they should be respected, welcomed. They've been through a pile of shit. They're people as well.
I appreciate the whole humanity thing. Do you know the difference between a refugee, like fleeing a war-torn country, and an economical migrant that hasn't been documented or no back checks? Do you know the difference?
Of course I do, yes.
You think these are refugees that are being housed here?
I would think the majority probably are.
Do you know how many countries they've had to bypass to get here and land in a small town like Crowborough?
Yeah.
How many?
Loads.
Were those countries they bypassed safe?
Possibly. Each country should take their fair share.
Now that is exactly the kind of guy that votes for the Green Party, and you can just tell by listening to him. He's actually kind of confused. He doesn't really fully understand the opinions that he holds. He's not really able to debate them or argue the position very strongly. But he still says what he thinks is the morally superior thing, and ultimately that's what it comes down to for so many people. It's just one big virtue signalling session. Now, I mentioned earlier that the Wealden district, of which Crowborough is a part, has some Green Party councillors, and they do. One of them is very interesting indeed. She's a lady called Rachel Millward, and she's actually the deputy leader of the Green Party. She's been weighing in on this whole 600 illegal migrants moving to an army barracks issue, and her take is quite interesting given her position within the party. Have a listen to this.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 38 minutes past 1. Now, the deputy leader of the Green Party, Rachel Millward, well, she's a councillor and she's come under fire after her council objecting to housing asylum seekers in Crowborough.
Yes, the deputy leader of Wealden District Council wrote to Migration Minister Mike Tapp, saying that the authority lacked reassurance that both asylum seekers and local communities will be properly safeguarded.
Now, critics are arguing that the letter contradicts the Green Party's traditionally welcoming stance for asylum seekers and refugees.
Rachel Millward and people like her are massive hypocrites. They've spent so long gaslighting you, telling you that mass immigration is a good thing and we should have open borders and refugees are welcome, but as soon as it's their area, they don't want any of it. In fact, once it was Crowborough, Rachel Millward was very quickly writing a letter to Mike Tapp, the Minister for Migration, saying that this would pose a significant risk to the local community. What kind of risk, Rachel? Could that be the kind of risk that the far right have been talking about for the last few years? A risk to women and children and indeed, as we've learned more recently with the case of Wayne Broadhurst, men? Is that the kind of risk you're talking about? The kind of risk that if anyone actually points it out and says it out loud, you would call them racist and fascist and Nazis. That kind of risk? That's what you're talking about? It's like those videos that you see on YouTube. Whenever there's a left-wing protest and there are some people holding signs that say refugees welcome, and a perky little YouTuber goes up to them and says, hey, would you like to sign this register to have a refugee come and live in your house? All of a sudden, they've got excuses, haven't they? All of a sudden, they're backing out. Oh, actually, I rent. Oh, I don't have a spare room. You've seen the videos. But you know who does have a spare room? Rachel Millward, because she lives in a £2 million house behind a walled garden with 6 bedrooms and an indoor heated pool. Rachel Millward, if she wanted to, she could have refugees living with her. But she doesn't want to because she's a hypocrite. Instead, she chooses to rent out some of those rooms on Airbnb because she'd rather have the money than actually live by her refugees welcome principles. That's Rachel Millward. That's the Green Party for you. So when I say that they're hypocrites, I'm not just making it up. This is true. That's what they are. Massive hypocrites.
Isn't it funny how the Green Party of refugees welcome except when it's on their own patch, their NIMBYs? No illegals in my backyard.
They think that we should welcome as many of these people as we possibly can, but they just want them to live. They just don't want them to live where they live, and it's very revealing that as soon as actually we're talking about in this case 600 asylum seekers housed very near where Rachel Millward lives and works and is a councillor, then suddenly this is a safety concern.
I'm going to finish here by saying something that I don't think the residents of Crowborough are going to particularly appreciate hearing. We don't deport people. And until we start deporting these people, they're going to keep coming. Now, if they keep coming, they have to be placed somewhere. Where should we place them? Where in the country should we place them? I'll tell you where I think they should go. They should go to the most liberal areas of the country. They should go to areas that voted for the Green Party, that voted for the Labour Party, that voted for your party. These liberal left-wing fanatics. You should send them there because you know what? It's best for the residents and it's best for the illegal migrants themselves. Don't put the illegal migrants in a hostile environment, which is mostly surrounded by Reform voters. And also, don't do that to the Reform voters. They've made clear their intentions. They don't want it in their area. Don't subject them to that. Send the illegal migrants to the Green Party constituencies. They wanted open borders. They say refugees welcome. Let them have it. Give them what they want. Don't inflict that on everyone else in the country. Give it to the people who apparently want it. The people living in 96 and 97% white leafy suburbs, give it to them. Yeah? Because they've said they want it. If they want to destroy the rest of the country, how about no? How about you just destroy your own community instead? How about your silly little virtue signalling politics actually just ruin your area and not everybody else's? No more hypocrisy. You get what you vote for. Wherever you mark your ballot, that's now relevant. That's what you're getting. You said the Green Party, okay. Well, 800 illegal migrants are getting dumped in your town. Enjoy. Why should everyone else have to suffer for your idiotic mistakes, for your stupidity, because you live in wealthy little towns behind walled gardens? Everyone else shouldn't have to deal with your stupidity, with the consequences of your ridiculous actions. They don't want it. And I suspect very quickly a lot of you are going to change your minds and start voting to the right. Even if you tell your friends at dinner parties you're still voting for the Green Party, you just won't be doing that anymore. So yeah, I'm sorry to the residents of Crowborough who are probably not going to want to hear that, but Look, if these people have got to go somewhere, they should be going to the Green Party, your party, Labour-held areas. It really is that simple. Do not put them in other areas when people have made their wishes very, very clear. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh no. Hello, come on. Anyway, I've calmed down a little bit now. I just wanted to give you a very quick 10-second update on Annie. She seems to be fine. She's walking a lot better. The reason I wasn't filming outdoors for the last week or so was just because she hurt her paw. Don't really know how. Took her to the vets. They shaved all the fur off. Couldn't really identify it, but gave her some painkillers and some antibiotics. And yeah, she's right as rain now. In fact, because she hasn't been for a walk in about a week's time, she's kind of put on some weight, I think. I don't know. She probably won't appreciate me saying that about her. But yeah, it's good to be back outdoors again. Weather's definitely a bit worse. Temperature's dropped. Soil's very stodgy. Anyway, boring chat. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry if I got a little bit angry. Just really riles me up, this stuff. Idiots, virtue signaling idiots who have no idea what's coming to this country. Or just don't seem to care, I guess. I think they can't imagine the nation being anything other than what it has been, and because they still live in these small pockets that are basically unchanged, they think that the change won't come for them, but it will. The change is going to come for all of us, and it's devastating. Anyway, please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in a future video. You can hype it as well if you want. Thank you very much.